Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about, in my opinion, the most powerful zodiac signs. And yes, this does apply and pertain to the sun, moon, and ascendant. Anyway, people, well, first off, I think one of the most powerful zodiac signs is the fixed sign Aquarius. Aquarius, in my opinion, on average, is the most cerebral and smartest of the zodiac signs. Keep in mind, one of their rulers is Uranus, which of course is the higher octave of Mercury. Their powerful strength often comes through their intellectual ability. They are often very innovative, revolutionary, and ahead of one's own time. Thomas Edison, who had his sun in Aquarius, patented numerous innovations. And really, another thing about them which makes them so strong and powerful is that they have the strong ability to often go against the grain, so to speak, and be nonconformists. Now, Rosa Parks had her sun in Aquarius. She had refused to relinquish her seat by a bus driver to a white passenger, and this action inspired efforts to eradicate segregation. Another thing is what makes Aquarius so powerful, I think, is the fact that they have the ability and really desire to do things, attempt things that are unorthodox, that are unusual, might even be risky, that many others will not do. You take Nick Wallenda, for example. He became the first person to cross the Grand Canyon on a tightrope, and he did it with no safety net. And he really, I mean, people like Aquarius really will often try the unusual and do the things a lot of other people won't do. Many of you may remember legendary stuntsman Evel Knievel had an Aquarius ascendant, and he would try all kinds of tricks. I mean, not tricks, but stunts that a lot of other people would not even fathom of doing. And there's just something about them, Aquarius people, that they have their mindset, well, I don't have to do this just because so many other people are doing it. And it makes them trendsetters. And they often, I mean, as I stated before, they could be very innovative, very unique. And I think they can inspire others to bring out the uniqueness in them as well. So anyway, well, another thing I want to talk about, well, I want to continue with Aquarius with one more thing I want to say is that Michael Jordan has his sun in Aquarius, and I think, I mean, he perhaps revolutionized the game of basketball more than any other player. And also iconic Major League Baseball player Babe Ruth had his sun in Aquarius as well. And I mean, there's no doubt the impact he had on the game, and I believe he was actually out homering baseball teams for part of his career. So, I mean, and when he retired, I think he also had at least double, if not more than double, the amount of home runs that the second person in career home runs had at that time. So he actually had more than double when Babe Ruth retired. I believe he had more than double the amount of home runs that the person in second place in career home runs had at that time. So anyway, and he was very well ahead of his own time in his sport. There's no doubt about that. Now, another sign that a zodiac sign, I think, is one of the most powerful zodiac signs, is Leo. Now, the thing is, Leo can be very imposing and intimidating. They are able to often get their point across in a very strong manner. They can easily dominate other people. Leos can have a very strong presence and are very charismatic. When they enter a room, people are generally going to spot it right away. They often can rule by intimidation. Now, their legendary temper, I mean, can certainly strike fear in more passive people, and they are known for their ferocity. Leo's energy can be nearly indefatigable and inexorable. And also, they have such strong strength of character, and other people just seem, I mean, compared to them, many others will seem a lot more passive than they are. Uh, my grandfather had a Leo son. I don't know what his ascendant was because I didn't know his birth time, but anyway, there was one time when he demonstrated a lot of that Leo courage and fortitude, and he jumped into the intrepid waters of the Long Island Sound to save someone from possibly drowning due to a plane that crashed into it. And he did this being stricken with polio with a bad foot. I mean, he only stood like 5'5" and maybe weighed 160 pounds. And I mean, he may have been diminutive in stature, but he had the heart of a lion and stood taller than pretty much any man I ever knew. And I mean, obviously a very lion-hearted person. And he really showed, I think, epitomized the Leo character. Now, another thing, example two, a legendary pro football coach, Bill Parcells, has his son in Leo and possibly moon in Leo, depending on birth time. And I wouldn't be flabbergasted or be in a state of shock if he has a Leo ascendant as well. But Bill Parcells obviously is a coach who's very domineering, very commanding, but he got players to do what he wanted. They respected him, I would say, at least for the most part. And Leos often, I mean, they often show their strength of character through their will and determination. And they are very, I mean, they are very, they really, when you look at Leo, is really very, I mean, they have very strong leadership prowess. General Norman Schwarzkopf had his son and ascendant in Leo, if I'm not mistaken. His ascendant was in Leo as well as his son. And he demonstrated uncommon valor and courage in the Gulf War, and he was the leader in coalition forces. So that is another good, I would say, almost like an archetype for Leo. The next thing is, well, the zodiac sign Taurus, I see, is one of the most powerful zodiac signs, of course, another fixed sign. And they often show their strength of character by their willpower and the fact that they are very determined. There's abundance of latent energy behind their powers of stamina. Taurus often likes to conserve their energy so they could use it for the time when they absolutely need it. Now, also, they have a strong, as far as financial acumen and monetary sense, they could often formulate ideas to make money when others can have difficulty in doing so. They have such, I mean, their willpower is so strong in terms of generating their income. They find, I mean, ways to do things in a pinch where a lot of other people can't. And you look at a prolific publishing executive, Steve Forbes, has a Taurus ascendant. Taurus can have a very prodigious financial acumen, and Steve Forbes, he certainly epitomizes this. Taurus, and also another thing about Taurus too, we talk about their their latent energy behind their powers of stamina. You look at mixed martial arts fighter Conor McGregor has a Taurus ascendant. Now, as many of you may know, he lost a boxing match to iconic boxer Floyd Mayweather, but he got a lot of respect from it because he made it much more competitive and lasted longer than a lot of people anticipated. And I think a lot of that was that strong Taurus rising, grit, determination, and he had had a lot more endurance to go close to the distance, and a lot of people did not think he had that capability of doing so. Anyway, well, last but not least, one of the most powerful zodiac signs, and I think may unequivocally be the most powerful zodiac sign, is Scorpio. Scorpio is very resilient, and they have great bounce back ability. And I think when we look at Scorpio, also they have an indomitable spirit. Scorpio may not win every single battle, but they often will emerge victorious in the war. Scorpio, in a very negative manifestation, though, can manipulate and get others to do what they want. Now, the person that uses the Scorpio energy more positively can just manage to stay in control of situations as opposed to controlling others, I think. Now, there's couple examples of very strong Scorpio energy now of people that had this. Now, military leader Napoleon Bonaparte and Italian dictator Benito Mussolini both had Scorpio rising. Now, I don't praise either one of these people. In fact, a lot of people can see a lot of their actions as downright reprehensible. But at the same time, I don't think anyone can doubt how powerful these two people were. And I mean, keep in mind, but nobody is invincible. I mean, Napoleon Bonaparte, he did, as many of you know, he ultimately lost the battle at Waterloo, and he surrendered at that time. So there's nobody that is invincible, but Scorpio, of all the signs, is about the closest to this in terms of their will. Another thing I want to talk about, I could say a more positive Scorpio, perhaps, or person that has Scorpio prominent in her chart, is renowned astrologer Liz Green, who has Scorpio rising. Now, she, has obviously been a very powerful proponent, I guess you could say, in the astrological world. She has played an integral role in the development of contemporary modern psychological astrology. And another thing about Scorpio too is they often have strong, exceptional ability to help transform others' lives for the better. And I think this does play a strong role in what makes them so powerful. Now, another person that shows power and very strongly, I think, and it has his sun in Scorpio, is Microsoft founder Bill Gates. Again, a sun in Scorpio. He's been, in Forbes a number of times, being one of the most powerful persons. I believe he was number 7 in 2016 as far as Forbes' most powerful people go. And his founding of Microsoft, has led to a number of very good computer operation systems by Microsoft, and he's really had a very strong impact thus on the computer age and in the internet world. So he has really done, you talk about obviously very, very powerful person indeed. And it's in his case, unlike maybe some other Scorpio people that have Scorpio prominent in their chart, he used this to in a very positive way, and it's been very beneficial to others. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for what I believe are the most powerful zodiac signs. Stay tuned next time, where I will be talking about the vertex in Virgo. 2 things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person astrologically speaking based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.